Oh, we are live. I'm trying out, let's see. I am trying out a new live stream. I'm trying out StreamYard today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys can hear me. I know this is a bit sudden for a live stream. Let's see. So I'm not used to using StreamYard, so let's see how this goes, though. Next time I'll go back to the other thing if this does not work out. But hello, everyone. Jester Bell is live today. And the thing that caused this impromptu live stream is the DC Comics solicitations for January 2023. And I am done. I'm completely done. I know I said that before with that big video I did where I'm like, this is it. I'm out of DC Comics. And honestly, I have been out because I haven't bought any DC Comics since then. I've still had this commitment to Batman News where I do reviews for them, but it's gotten to the point where I'm looking at these DC Comics solicitations and I'm just like, no more. I will not take this anymore. Okay, so there's only so much a person can take. And let me just say that there was a point with Marvel Comics, and I revealed this before, but there was a point with Marvel Comics where all of a sudden I wasn't attached to what was happening anymore. I could not care less if they lived or died. I couldn't care less of what they did to their characters. And just like that, dropped like a hot potato. I would not pay attention to Marvel Comics anymore. I have not bought a Marvel comic since 2019. I haven't been paying attention to any of the things that they've been doing, and that was done. And if we're going to look at other examples of that sort of thing, Star Wars, for years after 2017 with The Last Jedi, I was like, no, I want Star Wars to be better because I really care about Star Wars, and I want them to bring it back, to realize they made a mistake, and for Star Wars to be popular and not polarizing anymore, and for them to actually respect it and get somebody other than Kathleen Kennedy to do Star Wars. And that's the way I was for years. And then then I had a breaking point, and I felt that breaking point coming, and it was with the Obi-Wan show. I felt it, and I was correct that Obi-Wan feels like the end. If this is bad, I am done with Star Wars. I don't care anymore. Sure enough, when Obi-Wan came out, it was absolutely terrible. And since then, have not paid attention to anything about Star Wars. Rian Johnson comes out and says he's happy with The Last Jedi and wants to do more, which I think he said just to rile people up. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I don't care what he says. I'm not going to tweet about it. I'm not going to do anything. Andor, people say might be good. I'm like, I don't care about Andor. I don't want to watch Andor anymore or any Star Wars anymore. Haven't cared about anything. I have not had that yet with the MCU and the Marvel TV stuff. I'll still probably check out Secret Invasion, but I have questioned of when that is coming. Now, for DC Comics specifically, I think today is the day, because these solicitations come out and I'm seeing them and I'm like, okay, for all the books you're announcing, they're the same writers moved around. Like they talk about the bold new direction and these writers, and I'm like, none of the heavy hitters that were really bringing people into comics are there anymore. You're like, well, here's one with Joshua Williamson, and here's one with Teeny Howard, and here's one with this person and that, and Mark Waid, and all of these people that I don't care about anymore. And so I'm like, I'm not into that. And it's like, you say that this is going to go on for the next year. Well, I'm not interested in the next year. Then there's nothing in. But when it comes to the characters that I'm really interested in, and we've got more of Tim Drake. Tim Drake is gay comics coming out, even though he shouldn't be. And I see comics like there's one coming out for Batman: The Adventures Continue, and the plot is, though this is a comic that is supposed to tie in to Batman the Animated Series. I in my opinion, Batman the Adventures Continue, despite being done by two of the people who did Batman the Animated Series, that's not canon. There are so many things in that series that do not add up. It is not canon. But the story for the month of January is that Bruce Wayne and Harley Quinn dated the same woman at one point or another. And that this is supposed to, they're wanting me to believe that this was canon Batman the Animated Series, and that they're going to get into a fight over the fact that they dated that woman. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't mind saying that. Number one, and you're not going to like me saying this, but I don't care anymore. Harley Quinn is not supposed to be gay. She's not a lesbian. She's not even supposed to be bisexual. When she was first introduced by Paul Dini, this was as straight as a character can be. She was obsessed with men, yes, mainly the Joker, but also whenever she would show an attraction to someone or just be horny in general, it would always be towards men. She was not a lesbian. She was not in a relationship with Poison Ivy. They would bicker, they would fight. Poison Ivy gave her tough love at best. She was not a person who had girl-on-girl flings in high school. She was not a person who dated one of Bruce Wayne's girlfriends in high school. It sounds like bad fan fiction. And I'm like, how can the creative team behind Batman the Animated Series, that was 30 years ago, so things can change. Your brain can kind of leave you. How can they come up with that? How can that be acceptable? And then I'm looking at what's happened with Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy has been the book that I've been reviewing, and I said it very clearly on no uncertain terms for that series. I was incredibly positive to it. I was incredibly generous to it. I said, the reason why this book is selling is because it's bringing Poison Ivy back to what she was. They like that personality. They like that voice. People are entertained by that. And so that is why they're buying this Poison Ivy book. And even though it had a little dip, it had flaws, G. Willow Wilson would bring it back and it would actually be really good. Then last issue, they ended that and they're like, actually, Poison Ivy is going to be an anti-hero. She's going to straddle that line again. And we're going to give more Harley fan service, because they're now doing a comic where it's all about, it's all about Harley comes to visit Poison Ivy on the West Coast. And they're going to have an entire issue of, ooh, they love each other so much. And they're going to go shopping together. There's going to be all this, this fan art. I'll just call it what it is. And they're going to, they're going to have makeout scenes and all that. All the things that we've already seen with these two over and over and over again. And it's like, first of all, I would not put it past DC Comics to only have it be one issue, because they pulled that relationship out of a drawer and paraded around only to put it back in, because they don't actually seem like they want to commit to it. But boy, will they give a lot of fan service with it when it comes out. And I'm like, I said it in my reviews, I'm like, stop defining Poison Ivy by being Harley's girlfriend and stop defining Harley by being Ivy's girlfriend. Now, I understand why DC is doing this, because of the people who like the current day version of these characters. It's typically people who are only in it for Harley. I'm going to always say it like that from now on. That's the only way I can stomach it. These now I'm losing my train of thought. But that tends to be the only kind of people who are interested in these new versions. And so I understand why DC keeps pandering to that. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, these are people who are mainly vocal on Twitter. I don't know anyone in real life who likes Harley, okay? I even met a girl, I knew this coworker once, and she was obsessed with like the Margot Robbie version of the character. Couldn't be bothered to read comics, but couldn't care less about Harley and Ivy. Couldn't care less about all that kind of stuff. I have not met one person in real life who likes that relationship. It is all consolidated to Twitter, not even YouTube, not even necessarily Reddit. Of course, if you see some corners of Reddit, you're going to find that. No, Twitter. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, but on Twitter, people are also pretty vocal about wanting Harley to be a villain again. We did that campaign for a while, and we were made fun of for it. Stephanie Phillips ended up clapping back and saying that we're just people who hate change. She did that in one of her comics. And so I'm like, so how does DC Comics decide who they're going to listen to? Because they seem very influenced by Twitter and what the mainstream media is going to say. And so I'm like, okay, why do you favor some fans over the other? How do you pick and choose like this? Like, for example, why does Batman and Catwoman, why does that relationship never work out and you never want it to go forward, but you can give plenty of fan service to Batgirl and Nightwing? I don't really understand that, do you just chase whatever you think is popular or not? Because goodness sake, there is nothing good about that Harley and Ivy relationship. It is the same. One of the other reviewers on Batman News used this term, saccharin. Is that how you pronounce it? Basically, it's just overly sugary, overly perfect, overly amazing. Not that they don't have flaws. It's just they never admit their flaws. They always gloss it over and just continue to glorify. And I'm like, okay, you have to hear this solicitation. I'm going to pull it up right now. This is my first time using StreamYard. I don't know how to get the picture of it on here. I'm going to have to look this up later. Let me see really quick if I can get it. I'm going to have to mess with it later because I don't want to wreck anything. But let's look up the solicitation, and I'm going to read it to you guys. DC Comics solicitations. Let's see. I think this is it. So give me 1 second, and I'm pulling it up. Let's see. It's going to take me a tiny bit. And solicitations are so badly constructed. And basically, these websites where you have to keep scrolling forever just to get where you're going. Okay, Poison Ivy number 9. Okay, the tagline is, in all caps, "It's the issue you've all been waiting for!" Exclamation point. That's right. Your girl Harley Quinn, Dr. Fashionista, heroic criminal. What the heck? I just read that. Heroic criminal? I'm about to cry on the stream. I didn't even know it said that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, I need to drink some water. Put me on life support. Oh, should we try that again? Let's try it. That's right, your girl Harley Quinn, Dr. Fashionista, heroic criminal, criminally insane clown, and Poison Ivy's girlfriend. Do you guys remember when Harley used to be the Joker's girlfriend and people used to scream that was a horribly degrading title? Every female character needs to have their agency. They can't be defined or just by being someone else's girlfriend. Well, here you got it. As in part of the long lines of things about Harley, Poison Ivy's girlfriend, well, they're both defined by each other, anyway, has arrived on the West Coast to spend some quality time with her number one squeeze. Oh, Poison Ivy cheated on Harley, but we won't address that. What sort of wildly lascivious and lavishly ludicrous madcap mayhem, who writes this, will the DCU's favorite couple get up to? Poll in the chat, please. I really need to get this stuff and put polls out there. How do you put polls on this thing? Anyway, do you think that Harley and Ivy are the DC universe's favorite couple? Do you think that? Anyway, let's continue reading it. Featuring the return of series artist Marcio Takara and an assortment of utterly mouth-watering variant covers by some of the most delectable artists around. From iconic Harley Quinn artist Terry Dodson, he or she, they do a good job here, I'll say that, to incoming Harley Quinn artist Sweeney Boo, as well as Dan Mora, Ryan Gonzalez, and Mindy Lee. So with the Sweeney Boo confirmation, I guess that means we're still on track to getting that totally awful series by Teenie Howard. You won't want to miss a single bit of it. We guarantee it. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So guys, this is the issue you've all been waiting for. You can complain about DC Comics, the high prices. You can complain about the bad editing. You can complain about the character assassinations. You can complain about how the bad continuity. All those complaints, though, I want to tell you all right now, those are null and void. DC Comics cares about you. They listen to the fans. They love all of you guys. And you know why? Because they've given you the issue you've all been waiting for. Oh, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy number 9. It's not like they haven't had 2 series by T. Franklin that's all about worshiping this relationship, is it? it's not as if 2021 was not filled with them giving fan service comic after fan service comic after fan service comic with these two. No, you've got another series, another issue dedicated to that relationship. You know, the one that's gotten like what there's going to be like a Harley Quinn romances book coming out. I think it's meant to be for Valentine's Day, but it's weird because it's coming out in January. Another series about what if Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy met in high school. This is fan fiction. Seriously, it's nothing but fan fiction. It's nothing, and a specific kind of fan fiction, because not all fan fiction is bad. Not all stories that you write from different characters is for the characters you like is bad. Let me just explain to you guys. You probably know this, but for those who don't, there's a certain ilk of shipping. It's the kind that shipping gets its bad reputation from. These people who latch on their personal happiness to these relationships. I'll explain how it works. For example, this is going to sound really, really mean, but throughout my life, I've known girls like in high school and college, girls who, shall we say, do not have good home lives. They do not have dads around. I knew one girl once whose dad was in and out of jail. Some people who never even knew their dads. And these are girls that you would know that they are boy crazy, and you understand why they're boy crazy. You can put two and two together by, they don't have a male figure in their life, and that's why they're constantly obsessing over boys. And the most shallow of romances like Twilight, these are the girls who'd be into that kind of stuff. And to bring that as a springboard, there's people out there like that who don't have things together in their real life, and so they will latch themselves onto these ships. I know it because there have been times when in my life I'm like, I like this ship, I'm going to follow it, this relationship. But there comes a point where someone will become so attached to a relationship. It's like, my happiness depends. If these two characters can be happy, then I can be happy. And that's the entire thing that it's based off of. That's why these people lose their minds if a relationship doesn't happen the way they want to. And companies, like whether it's TV shows, whether it's comics, TV shows or comics, these companies will see that there's a fan base for these relationships, and they'll say, we need to tap into that fan base. We need to pander to them. We need to give them what they want. But the problem is that you're dealing with people who have tied up their happiness to this relationship. So anytime something doesn't go well in the relationship, anytime that it doesn't go well in the relationship, they will lose their minds because they've wrapped themselves up personally in it. They will take that as a personal attack on their happiness. That is what has happened with Harley and Ivy in the animated show, which has come entirely about that relationship. Ever since that show began, they've had people screaming at the showrunners that they are homophobic and that they better do this relationship. And so now that's why, though you can see the showrunners are horrified, they can't do anything in that relationship anymore that seems like it's threatened that. They can't even end one episode of that show with Harley and Ivy on a bad note, because if they do, then that is going to make that fan base go ape at them. Now, this is the kind of behavior that happens with both straight ships and gay ships. The only difference is with gay ships is that they've tried to do this with straight ship as well. I remember when Elicity was going on in Arrow, a lot of their fans were defending it, saying that you are misogynist if you don't like this relationship. And it's like, what? Like, most people will laugh at that and write it off. But with Harley and Ivy and other relationships like it, they can say, you are a homophobe. And that's why a lot of people don't want to criticize it. And I've certainly criticized it enough and got called a homophobe enough, because I'm like, I'm going to criticize your bad ship whether you like it or not. But and so it's like, is that really the relationship that we've all been waiting for, to get a comic like that? And absolutely no. Like, nobody wants this. DC Comics readers, I'm not saying this to be offensive, I'm saying this to be factual, but I'm the odd one out, being 23 girl reading comics, or I used to read comics. But most comic book readers are middle-aged men. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying it to be factual. Men in their 30s, 40s, 50s who collected comics as kids when they were actually good, who still read comics now. Those people are not the squealing fangirls on Twitter begging for Harley Ivy who are going to buy this comic. Like, do Harley and Ivy comics actually sell? I haven't seen evidence for that except for T. Franklin's first issue sold, but I'm pretty sure that's because it was a softcore porn comic. There are some men out there who like the relationship just because it's two very attractively drawn female characters, you know, getting together, and that's why there's also such demand to sexualize the relationship. But it's like T. Franklin's comics don't sell. Like beyond that first one, I've been seeing the rest of them they got her not getting barely any reviews on Amazon comparatively. Like no one actually cares. So so I've got a couple people coming in now who weren't in there. Hello, Jester. Jester, how's life? I've been better. But I will, you know, I've been better. Purple Monkey, what do you think about Dawn of DCU lineup? Well, I'm right here talking about how I'm out. It's like how Doc was talking on Thinking Critical's live stream. He's like, I'm done with comic books. Like, let them burn. And that's what the thumbnail on this live stream is. It's the Michael Myers picture at the end of if you watch like the Halloween Kills trailers, like Laurie Strode is like, no, let it burn. And that's how I feel like with DC Comics. Let it burn. Let's see. Let the fan base for Harley Ivy explode and die. Yeah, if I was somebody in a position of power with that relationship, and I had those people screaming at me and giving me death threats over wanting their perfect relationship, I would be like, you know what? What if I made these two characters hate each other? Would you like that? Or what if I say, no, these two are never going to get together? You know, I would just, because these people, when your emotions are so caught up in this, you are so easy to defeat. And I've seen it before. People just, who see my criticism about the relationship, just absolutely their emotional stability just go down because I criticize the relationship, which they're spontaneously trying to tell me is very popular. And I'm like, if it's so very popular, then why do you get so upset when one person criticizes them? Almost like you're a bit threatened that if someone criticizes this, they're either revealing you the truth or might even take this relationship away from you. Let's see. Let me see. Subreddit. DC Comics subreddit is eating it up though. Like, let me see. Are they eating up the Dawn of DCU or are they eating up the Harley Ivy? Like, which are we talking about? Somebody's asking me about that fanfic comic. It's Batman Adventures Continue, the January issue. That's what it is. And Paul Dini unfortunately had a part of it. I've been telling you guys that Paul Dini has really fallen apart as a writer. I hate that. He was my favorite comic book writer of all time, but he's fallen to pieces. Completely to pieces at this point. Both of them, all of them. Yeah, it's like I've used Reddits as my sources before, but here's the problem. They're like shill holes. It's like you're only allowed to have certain opinions. They ban people who have different opinions. It's like, I don't think it represents that amount of much people. I don't know if DC pays attention to Reddit and that's what they base their opinions off of. Reddit tends to hate modern Harley though, so I would like to say no. Yeah, it's a shill hole. There's been times where there'll be like I'll see these Reddits like deleting dissenting opinions. They'll like you couldn't post anything about Eric July's ISOM on comic book Reddit or you would be banned. So I don't yeah, that's a big thing for me. When Paul Dini himself is involved with a comic that bad, I'm out. I'm not doing it anymore. I think he's scared. That's really the impression I've been getting from him, that he is afraid to not do comics like this. But yeah. So what's it gonna be? I've still got that commitment to Batman news. I don't know how much longer I'll be doing it. Because like I said, everything I say, it just seems to fall on deaf ears for DC Comics. We've got the same terrible writers, the same terrible directions. And you kind of think of it as being, we use the analogy of being in an abusive relationship or even being in a bad job. There is only so long you can wait for it to get better. There's only so long you can wait for it to get better. There's only so long. You can make excuses for it. I'm not giving up on these characters. I think that when you look at the movies or anything else, and you get to the like other places in the world where you think that they might actually want to make money, David Zaslav is all about making money at this point. Then you can have some hope for the future there, because I do think that with the movie industry, the mainstream movie industry and TV and such, there's hope because people are paying attention and there's money to be made. Comics, it's like, how many years can we do this and pretend that things are going to get better? That's what I think. I'm just done. Like, I think the only two comics that I thought were any good was the Paul Dano Riddler comic, whether he wrote that or not, and then Deadly Duo, of course. And interestingly, those are the two comics that are separate from everything else. We got, an actor, or at least someone who's ghostwriting an actor writing a comic. And then we've got a comic that was in the works for so long and is just now coming out, both completely separate from anything else. I think I will pick those up in trade eventually, but for the mainstream stuff, I'm like out. And when you feel like I'm just going to let go of this, it's such a freeing thing. And, to understand me, for a while, like, I was hanging on to DC because, honestly, Batman comics I've read more than anything else, but I was really holding on for Harley because I'm like, if there's one character that you can even show a smidget of improvement on, can you please show me that character improvement? Like, even Poison Ivy got a little bit of a comeback. They got a little bit of a comeback in the G. Willow Wilson series. She had her voice back. She was being portrayed as a villain, and it was great. And something like that would give me hope for the future. But then they ruined that. But Harley's never even gotten that. It's all been Black Label books that have teased some hope for the character. And even stuff like White Knight, like that went bad too. And so it's like, I have hope for Harley. It's in the Joker 2 movie they're doing. Let's imagine if that, hopefully, people really respond positively to that. But comic books, like they never listen. Even when things aren't selling at all, they never listen. If comics were shut down tomorrow, Vizak Nima, I would laugh. I would laugh on their grave at this point. There's no one there I care about. Even people that like Paul Dini that I used to love, like he's failed. He's given into all of this stuff. Just done. Don't want to hear about it anymore. Let it burn. Let it burn, as Laurie Strode said in the Halloween Kills trailer. Just let it burn. DC Comics is like Michael Myers in like the basement of the house, where he's staring at you and he's going to try to escape, but you're just letting him burn. That's how I feel about comic books right now. Who cares about their next event? Who cares about any of it? I didn't even get to enjoy Harley in Rebirth because they didn't change her even then. Rebirth was short-lived for every character. And every time I see Jim Lee's face and he's kind of smiling, Jim Lee's just kind of got a little smile on his face over everything. I'm like, you have no self-awareness. Like your company is burning to the ground. You are only alive right now by the good graces of WB. And I'm like, if David Zaslav wants to save like $1 billion, just shut down DC. Like, these comics, they shouldn't exist anymore. Even comic book YouTube, there's barely any of anybody who's talking about it less, because it's like nobody cares anymore. There used to be people who cared about saving comics. There isn't anymore. They're moving on, and I'm moving on. When I do write my last review for Batman News, I'll let you go because it's going to be out. I'm going to be like, I care more about these characters than you guys do, and that's the big problem. Okay, I've done 30 minutes on comic books. I'm just going to go a little bit longer. Thank you to all you guys who watched my short film. It's still struggling a little bit in the viewership. Like, it's very hard on YouTube to get your short film seen. I know a lot of people pay to get their short film seen on YouTube, but I have to just go with what I got. So I'm going to be doing a new thumbnail in a few minutes to see if that can get some more traction for it. And then I'm writing my next short film script. And the next one will probably be a horror movie again, because I really enjoy doing horror. But thank you to everybody who supported it. It means a lot to me. And you know what? I don't think I have too much else to say other than I hate DC Comics. I'm going to do my best not to pay attention to them anymore. No more comics, no more solicitation watching, no more nonsense. I hope I'll be able to wean myself off of it, like a bad job, like a bad relationship. Anyway, and I would suggest to all of you, I honestly don't understand people who are still reading current comics. I don't get it. I don't get why you would pay that kind of money on it. I don't get what you're enjoying. But I would just say leave them to burn. That's all I would say at this point. I'm sick of it. I'm out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll have more videos up in the near future, and I will see you guys next time.